serious tragedy at Londiani, which saw a number of people lost. I said earlier, when we were at the Requiem Mass, that I will always avoid talking politics on 52 bodies that were buried. As a governor, I went round the clock, reached out to my governor colleagues, reached out to State House, reached out to several friends, and I was able to organize this event in a record of a few hours, just within a day, because we felt that we must support the families and help them. We continue to express my heartfelt appreciation for the concerns raised by the public regarding the tragic londiani accident. We have had issues because after the accident, which we lost so many lives, we still even have families in the hospital. And as we speak right now, even up to last week, we've continued to receive reports of patients that were not identified and they are still in the hospitals as far as Nakuru and other places. Some of them were discharged and they've been taken back to the hospital. And I say it is not something to celebrate because we are going to have people whose lives will never be the same again. After the accident, we'll have others, we'll see people amputated, limbs fractured, and their lives will not be the same again. And that is why my thoughts are with those who lost their loved ones or were injured in a terrible road crash. The pain and magnitude of this loss are indescribable, and I assure you that I will not treat it lightly as your leader. I've had and I've read concerns in the social media circulating around to the effect that money was lost in the process, and some other families have not received the money. I've been able to reach out to the committee which was concerned, and out of it be able to understand what exactly transpired. Because just like any other person, when you organize a fundraiser, we give out our money and you leave for the duties and leave. Even in our villages, we have funeral committees. So when you go out there, you give money and then you go, and the rest remains with the committee in question. I want to also indicate at this point that we still continue to thank our doctors in Kericho County. The response they had was massive, and they were able to address the issues at hand, with a lot of diligence and even with a lot of commitment towards it. It is also shocking to me when I heard that some money has been misused. And as the governor of this county, as a father of this county, it is something that I'm not taking it lightly. It is something that I want to assure the members of the public and the victims that even if this is true, then we are going to do whatever it takes to ensure that the victims are compensated properly. I must admit that having looked into the circulation in social media, and having also asked about the money that is still there, the committee confirms to me that progressively they've been giving out money, and they've been giving out money to the victims, and even the families that have continued to be identified, and even those that are still in the hospital, and they've been progressively doing that. They have also indicated to me that there is still money that are yet to be dispatched, and in the process of this, we have borders that were affected, and they have indicated to me that they are also in the plans of giving out money to the borders, those who are affected, and also dispatching money to those who have not been given. To address this, I'm taking an immediate action. And before I do that, I want to confirm here to the public that I had said the hospital bills will be met by the county government of Kericho. The position is still the same. That is a commitment from me as the governor of this county. The medical expenses, and what I mean by expenses, I mean the treatment of the patients. We have patients in the hospital, normally you pay for the doctor, you pay for the beds, and we have continued to say, and I still indicate here today, that medical bills will still be met by the county government of Kericho. Those that were in the mortuary, we waived the mortuary fee, we waived it to zero, and there is no money that families paid or that were paid for the same, because we waived more than 2 million at Londiani Hospital. It is therefore then, based on the suggestion that has been there in social media, I would wish to indicate as the governor today that there is no money that should be paid to Londiani Hospital or Kericho Referral Hospital. The money belongs to the victims, it belongs to the survivors. And I have directed today to the committee that they need to step out, make sure that whatever money they still have be paid immediately and promptly to the families. To address this, and for us to be fair and to understand this, I'm taking immediate action. And before that action, I've also heard that the tents are supposed to be paid. The fundraiser and the event that we organized was not to pay for the tents. The tents belongs to the county government of Kericho. And I have equally directed the committee, because they have the money, they have not paid out, to be able to release the money that they say is for tents, because the county government of Kericho is the one to pay for the tents. This is not a broke county, this is a very rich county.
Oh, yes.
And you cannot have a county where we'll be able to source for tents and then, you know, we go for fundraiser to pay for the tents. No. So I have equally directed that the money that is said is for the tents to immediately be given to the victims and the survivors, because they tell me they have not paid any money, the money is there, and I'm asking them to pay out the money. Further, I've seen indications that I've seen what is circulating in social media, that there were food stuff to be eaten and they were proper like that. I have given directions that those expenses belong to the county government. Those expenses, which includes food, which includes hospitality that was done on that day, the county government of Kericho will meet fully those expenses. And whatever money is there should be surrendered back to the victims and to the families, because they tell me that they still have the money. I also, to address this, I'm taking immediate action by establishing a team to conduct a forensic audit on the list, review the disbursement, and assess the remaining funds. Because all of us know how fundraisers are organized. And having done that, for us to understand this very clearly, and for us to have a fair hearing to everybody as to whether this money was lost or not, I am taking then an immediate action today by forming an audit list. I thank the Assembly. The Assembly have already created an ad hoc committee. For me as the governor, I also want, and today I'm forming a committee, so that after the closure of the committee work, which I've given them a deadline of Wednesday next week, they come into action and do a thorough audit and review and give us a report on how this money was paid, if all the victims have received the money, and if all that were meant for the funds were used appropriately. I also want to identify any individual or groups who might have been overlooked in the support process. So we know that there are groups that have not paid. In fact, the team from Londiani was just telling me a while ago that even as we talk now, there are some of the families that have not been identified, and as up to yesterday, they are still coming out to say they have not received the funds. So the work of this committee is to also identify those that were overlooked in the support process. The team is open to receiving input from any aggrieved members of the public who wish to submit their petitions directly. So this team that you are putting in place, the members of the public, my encouragement is that you do written submissions where you feel like this family hasn't received the money, or this one has received the money, or this is how it was, then you receive submissions and give direct petitions to that team. The results, when this team will finish their work and give us a report, I want to assure the members of the public that once we have the report of the entire audit process of it, if any of the committee members that are working in the county government of Kericho will be found culpable to have stolen the money, then we'll be able not just to ask them to step aside, but actually take them to jail and prosecute them.
Yes.
Because the worst soul you can have in life is to eat from the dead. I mean, as a human being, as with the consciousness in your heart. You cannot eat from funerals. You cannot eat from the dead. But we want to say that once this committee is done, they'll be able to give us the directions. The team members selected for this critical task are as follows. So these are the members that I've appointed today.